Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I hope you are all doing well. Thank you so much for joining us today. So for those that are joining us for the very first time, my name is Adelaide.
And my name is Yikman. As many of you are aware, and as we covered in our video last month, there are many similarities between Black and Chinese cultures. You can see examples of this cohesion between the two cultures in the media, from examples such as Wu-Tang Clan and Shaolin, Jet Li and Aaliyah in the film Romeo Must Die, and Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan in the Rush Hour films.
Yeah, and we absolutely love being an Asian and Black couple. I wasn't looking for an Asian guy and Yitman wasn't looking for a Black woman, but God put us together and we met, and for those who haven't checked out our How We Met video, check it out. You will see exactly how we met. Unfortunately, when it doesn't work, we've noticed that there have been quite a few common denominators that contribute to this fact. Before we do get into that, we would love you to subscribe to our channel, and if you're enjoying our content, as always, please don't forget to click that like button, and let's get into it.
Point number one, the relationship doesn't tend to work when they are with each other just because of their race or the colour of their skin. Friendship should be the key of every good relationship.
It's paramount, isn't it?
When you're with them just because they're Black or just because they're Chinese, it might work for a little while, but there's no foundation in that relationship. And with things with no foundation, as we know, eventually when there's a storm or anything like that, it could topple over.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, if you are attracted to a particular, if you're attracted to some mainly Chinese guys, or if you're attracted to mainly Spanish guys, or mainly Italian guys, or mainly Swedish guys, that's absolutely fine. But we're talking about when it becomes a fetish, and when they're with them only for that reason. I just think that that's just a bit shallow.
Point number two is that the relationship doesn't tend to work when the couple isn't mutually invested completely in each other's cultures.
That's a very good point.
And the funny thing is, you can actually be in an interracial relationship and still be racist.
Absolutely.
It's totally possible. We've heard of people, for example, in a Black and white relationship, people calling each other the N-word after they've broken up, and I'm thinking
not even after they've broken up, after arguments.
Even after arguments.
I remember a particular couple that were actually married, and the guy was called the N-word on numerous occasions when they had arguments. So I think on both sides, I think it's really important that you have to be there needs to be some sort of investment in the culture and care and consideration towards, and just learn a bit about the person's culture as well when you are in that relationship. Learn about the culture and their history, and relations now, things that are going on in society within the culture that concern them. And I think these sort of discussions are really, really important, and I think it will go a long way, especially when you have children as well, and you're not having to play catch up. I think it's really important to be just a lot more invested. Like, for example, we've had the Black Lives Matter, but Yitman, to be honest with you, we're not really, both of us aren't really on Facebook anymore. But when you were on Facebook, I know from years ago, from pre-George Floyd, and all of you, just from years ago, you've been talking about the shootings and the killings and the brutality of Black males from years ago, because it's been going on for years. But you need to respect each other's cultures, and
if you love them, you care about their culture.
That's it. Asking questions. Surely these conversations must come up as you're together. Just about your experience growing up in the country or whatever. We love talking about stuff like that, and I think it's just important. It will go a long way. And lastly, it doesn't tend to work when people care too much about what other people think. I've had friends, and I've had people that I've heard stories of where they've been so conscious of being with somebody of another race, thinking about what the parents will think, thinking about what friends will think, what family will think, and I find that those relationships tend not to work. I understand, within some cultures it's really frowned upon, and the pressures that puts on the person, sometimes they think, is it even worth it? So that's something that you have to decide for yourself, and you should decide it beforehand, to be honest with you. I think that
it's not going to change, like your colour's not going to change, their colour's not going to change.
Not at all.
So Think about it beforehand.
Think about it beforehand, but at the same time, you can't blame who you fall in love with as well at the same time, because relationships that just tend, in the majority of cases, happen organically.
And I think in a relationship you have to decide how many people do you want in this relationship, because most relationships are just two people really. So if you decide to involve your friends and your family, your mum and dad, soon, you know, it becomes a 10-person relationship, and everyone wants a say, everyone wants a point of view, and that's when the relationship breaks down. So don't let other people into your relationship. You know, if it's serious enough and you love the person, then, you know, it's about you and them really.
I remember when I was speaking to somebody before, and they were like, this was years ago, I'm talking about 20 years ago, and I remember she was saying, oh, I would never go out with a white guy, and I was like, okay, well, you know, fair enough. And she asked me if I would, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And and I just found it really interesting, because I saw her years after, and who was she with? A white guy. And I just smiled to myself, and I just thought, how ironic, how funny. And if I was to be somebody that was to really take what every person was to say on board and say, oh gosh, what if she frowns at me, what if she looks down upon me, or what if she kind of like, you know, what if I cared too much about what people would think, I would just be an unhappy person, because that very same person was and still is with a white guy. So I just think you just have to do you, boo.
I think so.
You do you, and you live your life in your lane. And that's the thing, because as I said, I had people say, you know, why are you with a Chinese guy, and this and this and that, and I just said, why not? Because, you know, for me, why should it matter? And for me, I just think, you know, it didn't bear any weight whatsoever. I knew that Yitman loved me and I loved him, and what other people thought had no relevance whatsoever. People say things for different motives as well. Don't think that everybody is your best friend, and don't think that people are saying it always out of love. Some people say things to you out of jealousy, and some people say things to you some people just out of spite. So what I always say is, you follow your heart, and you do what you feel is right. And for us, we knew that it was right. As I said, for me, I'm a Christian, and I prayed about it, and I knew where God was leading me, and that was something that was really important for me. And I just think that don't be too concerned about what other people think, because sometimes their opinions will actually become what your opinions were in the first place. And so, you know, it's all just like, people change, their moods change. Women are hormonal as well. As women can be quite hormonal and say things off the cuff. Men as well. Sometimes you have your periods every now and again, don't you, as well?
Every week.
Yeah. So I just think that you do you.
Yep. So once again, thank you guys for tuning into our channel.
Yes.
If you enjoyed it, please click the like button. Please share it with your friends.
If you know of any other reasons, if you've seen any sort of common denominators within interracial relationships, what's caused breakdowns, or if you agree or disagree with any of the points that we've made, we'd love to hear back from you. Please comment down below. Do not be a stranger.
And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing to this channel if you want to see more of us. Thank you again for watching. We really appreciate you guys.
Yes,
and see you next time. Take care.
See you guys soon. Take care. Peace out.
Baby, you the remedy. You're my mirror, I can finally see, bringing out the best in me. Yeah, I don't want